First contact with Earth's pet phenomenon. Chief researcher Vrina stood before the Galactic Science Council, her crystalline form shifting colors with nervous energy. The chamber's artificial lighting reflected off the faces of dozens of different species, all gathered to hear what they considered an absurd proposal. Distinguished members of the council, Vrina began, her voice modulator carefully calibrated to project confidence. I stand before you today with a discovery that challenges everything we understand about predator-prey relationships. On the planet Earth, we have documented what appears to be impossible, a species that has formed symbiotic bonds with apex predators. The chamber erupted in murmurs. A Nexilian representative, their gelatinous form rippling with skepticism, raised an appendage. Preposterous. No sentient species would willingly cohabitate with predators. Vrina activated her holographic projector. The image that appeared caused several council members to recoil, a human child embracing what their database identified as a Rottweiler, both creatures appearing to be in a state of mutual contentment. What you're witnessing isn't an isolated incident, Vrina continued. I propose sending a research team to Earth to study this phenomenon. Understanding how humans have achieved these relationships could revolutionize our understanding of interspecies dynamics. 2 weeks later, Vrina led a small team to Earth, accompanied by junior researcher Keplak, a specialist in predator behavior, and security officer Mrindu, who had insisted on joining despite believing the mission was suicide. Their landing site, a suburban area in what humans called Minnesota. Their first observation came sooner than expected. As they emerged from their cloaked ship, disguised as a storage shed, they witnessed a human female jogging alongside a large canine. Their protective suit sensors immediately began analyzing the situation. Fascinating, Keplak whispered, their purple tentacles curling with excitement. The human appears to be engaging in voluntary exercise with the predator. But why isn't the predator pursuing? This defies all known hunting patterns. Mrindu's metallic exoskeleton clinked as they shifted nervously. Perhaps it's waiting for the human to tire. Classic hunting strategy. Their theories were interrupted by an even more baffling sight. A small human child approached them, walking a tiny creature their database identified as a chihuahua. The diminutive predator was wearing what appeared to be a pink garment with the words, "Mommy's Princess," emblazoned across it. "Greetings, strange-looking people," the child called out cheerfully. "Want to pet Bella? She's super friendly." The research team froze, their cultural adaptation programming failing to provide an appropriate response to this scenario. Vrina's color shifted to a diplomatic blue as she stepped forward. "Your predator. Bella allows physical contact from strangers?" she asked carefully. The child giggled. "She's not a predator, she's a puppy. And she loves belly rubs, don't you, Bella?" The tiny creature rolled onto its back, exposing its vital organs in what the team's threat assessment protocols identified as either absolute trust or a clever trap. Later that evening, as the team compiled their initial reports, they struggled to make sense of their observations. They had witnessed humans carrying predators in bags, speaking to them in high-pitched voices, and even sharing their food with them. Perhaps, Keplak suggested, their tentacles forming the pattern that indicated deep thought, we should consider the possibility that Earth's creatures have evolved beyond traditional predator-prey relationships. Vrina reviewed the day's footage, pausing on an image of a human in a park, throwing a small object for a group of dogs to chase. Or perhaps, she said slowly, we've discovered a species that has found a way to transform predator-prey relationships into something entirely new. Mrindu, who had spent the day in a constant state of alert, finally spoke up. What disturbs me most is how happy both species appear. The humans show no fear, and the predators show no hunting instinct. It's as if they've created some sort of emotional bond. The word emotional hung in the air like a controversial scientific theory. Their species had long believed that interspecies emotional connections were impossible, merely the stuff of children's stories. Yet here was evidence that challenged that fundamental assumption. As night fell over the suburban landscape, the research team prepared for their first full day of field study. Tomorrow, they would visit something humans called a pet store, which their preliminary research suggested was a facility where humans actually sought out predators to bring into their homes voluntarily. Vrina made her final log entry for the day, Earth Observation Day 1. We may need to reconsider everything we think we know about the nature of species relationships. The humans have either mastered something extraordinary, or they are collectively engaging in the galaxy's most elaborate form of self-deception. Further research required to determine which is more remarkable. The strange case of dog parks. The research team's second day on Earth began with what Security Officer Mrindu classified as a Level 1 containment breach. They stood at the edge of a fenced area where dozens of predators roamed freely while their humans chatted casually nearby. "This can't be safe," Mrindu muttered, their exoskeleton plates clicking rapidly in distress. "They're allowing multiple apex predators to establish dominance hierarchies in an enclosed space. This is precisely how the Great Catastrophe on Nexus 7 began." Vrina adjusted her holographic disguise, which made the team appear as ordinary humans to avoid drawing attention. "According to our research, this is called a dog park. Humans intentionally bring their predators here for something called socialization." Junior researcher Keplak's tentacles waved in excitement beneath their holographic camouflage. "Observe. The larger predator is pursuing the smaller one." They reached for their emergency beacon, but Vrina stopped them. "Wait," she instructed, her crystalline form shifting to an analytical blue. "The humans are laughing. And the predator's body language indicates play behavior, not hunting patterns." Indeed, a German shepherd and a golden retriever were chasing each other in circles, tongues lolling, while their humans called out encouragement. Nearby, a poodle and a bulldog were engaged in what appeared to be ritual combat over a squeaking object. "The humans have developed some form of control mechanism," Mrindu theorized, their tactical processors whirring. "Perhaps sonic control through those high-pitched voices they use." Their discussion was interrupted by a human approaching with a small, elderly beagle. "First time at the dog park?" the human asked cheerfully. "Don't worry, Charlie here is great with newcomers." Before the team could activate their defensive protocols, the beagle waddled over and pressed its nose against Keplak's holographic leg. The junior researcher's tentacles went rigid with terror beneath their disguise. "He likes you," the human exclaimed. "Do you have a dog of your own?" "We are conducting research," Vrina replied carefully, using their practiced human speech patterns. "These interactions are most fascinating." The human nodded knowingly. "Nothing better than watching dogs play together. It's like they have their own little society, right? Look at how they communicate." The team spent the next 3 hours observing what they termed voluntary predator congregation patterns. Their notes became increasingly confused as they witnessed behaviors that defied conventional xenobiological understanding. Time-stamp 1432 Earth hours, Keplak recorded. 2 predators engaged in apparent conflict over throwing implement. Humans intervened not with weapons but with verbal commands, "drop it," and "share." Predators complied immediately. Method of mind control remains unclear. Vrina was particularly intrigued by the social dynamics between humans. They exchange information about their predators as if discussing offspring, she noted. Topics include dietary preferences, sleep patterns, and something called funny quirks. This suggests a deep level of observational study, yet their scientific methodology appears highly informal. The team's paradigms were further challenged when they witnessed a small Chihuahua asserting dominance over a Great Dane. The size disparity alone should have made such an interaction impossible, yet the larger predator seemed to accept the smaller one's authority. Perhaps, Mrindu suggested, their tactical certainty wavering for the first time, we should consider the possibility that Earth's predators have developed a complex social structure that transcends traditional hunting hierarchies. As the afternoon progressed, the team observed numerous behaviors that contradicted everything they knew about predator-prey relationships. Humans freely offered their predators water, physical affection, and praise, while the predators responded with what could only be described as devotion. The most perplexing moment came when a puppy, clearly still in its training phase, approached their group. Instead of maintaining a safe distance, several humans immediately dropped to their knees, making high-pitched sounds and offering their hands for inspection. Are they offering themselves as tribute? Mrindu asked, genuinely confused. No, Vrina replied, her color shifting to a contemplative green. I believe this is what humans call puppy fever. It appears to be some form of temporary emotional impairment triggered by infant predators. As the sun began to set, the team watched the humans and their companions prepare to leave. Each predator obediently followed their human to various transport vehicles, many appearing reluctant to end their social interactions. Final observation of the day, Vrina recorded. The humans have not merely tamed these predators, they have created a complex social ecosystem where both species thrive through mutual cooperation. This challenges our fundamental understanding of not just Earth species, but of the potential for interspecies relationships throughout the galaxy. Back in their concealed ship, the team prepared their daily report for the Galactic Science Council. How could they explain that one of the most dangerous phenomena they'd observed was something humans called puppy kisses, and that the recipients appeared to welcome this potentially hostile form of contact? Perhaps, Keplak suggested as they reviewed their footage, we should request an extension of our research mission. There's clearly more to understand about these relationships than we initially hypothesized. Vrina agreed, her form glowing with scientific curiosity. Tomorrow, they would investigate something even more baffling, a place humans called a pet cafe, where they apparently paid money to interact with predators that weren't even their own. Unexpected bonds. Junior researcher Keplak had prepared extensively for their mission to Earth, studying every known predator-prey interaction in the galaxy. Nothing had prepared them for the concept of a cat cafe. Let me understand this correctly, Mrindu said, their exoskeleton vibrating with concern as they stood outside Whiskers and Waggle's cat cafe. Humans pay currency to enter a confined space with multiple unrestrained feline predators while consuming beverages? According to my research, Vrina replied, adjusting their holographic disguise, these establishments serve a dual purpose. Humans receive something called stress relief, while the felines are offered for potential adoption. Inside, the scene that greeted them defied all logical explanation. Humans sat on comfortable furniture, sipping beverages, while a dozen cats roamed freely. Some felines were sleeping in patches of sunlight, others played with toys, and one particularly bold specimen was attempting to drink from a human's coffee cup. Remarkable containment system, Mrindu observed, scanning the room. No force fields, no neural suppressors, not even basic restraints. Just small jingly toys and scratching posts. The team found seats in a corner, maintaining what they considered a safe observation distance. A cafe employee approached, her name tag reading, Sarah. First time here, she asked cheerfully. Don't worry, our cats are super friendly. Would you like to meet some of them? Before they could decline, a small black cat with bright green eyes jumped onto their table. Keplak's tentacles twisted nervously beneath their disguise as the creature fixed them with an unnervingly direct stare. Oh, that's Midnight! Sarah exclaimed. She usually doesn't approach new people. You must have a special touch with cats. The feline predator moved closer to Keplak, emitting a low vibrating sound. The junior researcher's scientific training warred with an unexpected impulse to reach out toward the creature. That's purring, Sarah explained, misinterpreting their rigid posture as uncertainty. It means she likes you. You can pet her if you want. Throwing centuries of xenobiological safety protocols to the wind, Keplak extended their holographic hand. Midnight pushed her head against it, and something extraordinary happened. Through their protective suit sensors, they felt the soft fur, the gentle warmth, and the continuous vibration of the purr. "Fascinating," Vrina whispered, her crystalline form shifting through shades of amazement as she recorded the interaction. "The predator appears to be initiating a bonding ritual." Over the next hour, the team watched in growing wonder as humans and cats engaged in what appeared to be mutually beneficial social behaviors. A businessman in an expensive suit allowed a large orange cat to sleep on his laptop. A student shared her sandwich with a striped tabby while studying. An elderly woman engaged in lengthy one-sided conversations with multiple cats, who seemed to listen with varying degrees of interest. But it was Keplak's continued interaction with Midnight that proved most enlightening. The cat had settled in their lap, a position that their threat assessment protocols insisted was tactically disadvantageous. Yet instead of feeling vulnerable, the junior researcher experienced an unfamiliar sensation of comfort. "Chief researcher," Keplak said quietly, their voice modulator struggling to maintain professional detachment, "I believe I'm experiencing what humans call an emotional response to this creature." Vrina's color shifted to a deep purple of concern. "Are you suggesting the predator has some form of psychological influence?" "No," Keplak replied, gently stroking Midnight's fur as they had observed other humans doing. "I believe I understand why humans seek these interactions. There is something valuable in this connection that our species has never considered possible." As closing time approached, Sarah returned to their table. "Midnight really has taken a shine to you," she said. "You know, she's actually up for adoption. She's been here a while. Most people overlook black cats, which is a shame because they're usually the sweetest." The team watched in shock as Keplak's holographic form leaned forward with interest. "Could you tell me more about the adoption process?" Later that evening, as they prepared their daily report, Vrina struggled to maintain scientific objectivity. Day 3 observations suggest that human-predator relationships extend beyond simple domestication. We are witnessing the formation of genuine emotional bonds between species that, by all logical standards, should be incompatible. Mrindu, who had spent the entire visit in a state of high alert, added their own observation: security concerns regarding predator containment appear to be unnecessary when emotional bonds are established. Though I still maintain that allowing them on tables violates basic safety protocols. But it was Keplak's personal log that perhaps best captured the day's significance. "I find myself experiencing unprecedented cognitive dissonance. My training insists that these creatures are dangerous predators, yet I cannot ignore the evidence of my own sensors, or the curious sensation I experienced when Midnight engaged in what humans call needing behavior on my lap. Perhaps there are forms of interspecies relationships that our science has not yet conceived of. Also, I have submitted a formal request to extend my research period at this facility. For purely scientific reasons, of course." The Animal Shelter Mystery. The Happy Tales Animal Shelter sign flickered in the early morning light as the research team approached the facility. After 3 days of observing established human-predator relationships, they had decided to investigate how these bonds initially formed. "Our database indicates this is a temporary housing facility for displaced predators," Vrina explained, her crystalline form shifting anxiously. "Humans apparently volunteer their time here without compensation." "Volunteer?" Mrindu's exoskeleton clicked in disbelief. "They willingly expose themselves to potentially hostile creatures for no tactical advantage." Their discussion was interrupted by a cheerful voice. "Welcome to Happy Tales. I'm Maria, the volunteer coordinator. Are you here to look at our available pets?" The team had prepared for this, activating their cover story protocols. "We are conducting research for a documentary about animal shelters," Vrina explained carefully. Maria's face lit up. "Perfect timing. We're actually preparing for our annual adoption event. Would you like a tour?" As they followed Maria through the facility, their sensors struggled to process the mix of emotions they encountered. The building housed dozens of dogs and cats, each with their own story of abandonment or rescue. Rather than the chaotic predator containment facility they'd expected, they found an organized operation run on what appeared to be genuine compassion. "This is our medical wing," Maria explained, leading them past rooms where veterinarians treated injured animals. "We never turn away an animal in need, no matter their condition. Last week, we took in a dog who'd been hit by a car. Want to meet him?" In a recovery room, they found a large mixed-breed dog with a cast on his leg. Despite his injury, his tail wagged vigorously at their approach. A human volunteer sat beside him, reading aloud from a book. "Why is she transmitting information to a predator that cannot comprehend human language?" Keplak whispered, their tentacles curling in confusion beneath their disguise. "It helps them feel less lonely," Maria explained, overhearing the question. "Plus, it helps our shy dogs get used to human voices. We call it the Reading Buddies program." The team's understanding of human-animal relationships underwent another dramatic shift in the shelter's cat room. Here, elderly human volunteers socialized with cats that had been deemed less adoptable due to age or medical conditions. "These humans are investing emotional resources in creatures that have been rejected by others," Vrina noted in her log. "The logic behind such actions requires further study." Their tour took an unexpected turn when they reached the shelter's behavioral training area. A human trainer worked patiently with a dog that their sensors identified as displaying signs of severe anxiety. "Chase here came from a fighting ring," Maria explained, her voice softening. "When he first arrived, he was so scared he wouldn't let anyone near him. Now look." They watched as Chase successfully completed a series of commands, receiving treats and gentle praise. The transformation in his demeanor was obvious even to their alien understanding. "The humans are not merely providing physical care," Keplak observed. "They are engaging in psychological rehabilitation of traumatized predators." But it was their visit to the shelter's senior animal wing that truly challenged their scientific detachment. Here, older dogs and cats lived in comfortable rooms designed to feel like home environments. Volunteers provided specialized care, including medication, physical therapy, and what Maria called endless love. "Many of these animals may never be adopted," Maria explained, scratching behind the ears of an elderly cat. "But they'll live out their days here, surrounded by people who care about them." Mrindu, who had maintained professional skepticism throughout their mission, finally spoke up. "These humans devote significant resources to caring for creatures that provide no obvious benefit to their society. How do you justify this expenditure?" Maria's response left them pondering for hours afterward. "Every life has value. These animals give us so much more than we give them: companionship, purpose, unconditional love. Sometimes saving them saves us too." As they concluded their tour, they witnessed something that would feature prominently in their report to the Galactic Science Council. A family arrived to adopt a three-legged dog named Spirit. The humans had specifically requested a special needs animal, explaining that their children had learned about disabled pets and wanted to give one a loving home. Log entry, Earth Day 4, Vrina recorded later. "We must revise our understanding of human evolutionary success. Their capacity for interspecies empathy appears to be not a weakness, but a remarkable strength. They expend enormous resources caring for creatures that other species would consider lost causes, and in doing so, they create bonds that transcend biological imperatives." Keplak, still processing their experience at the cat cafe the previous day, added their own observation: "The humans have developed a social infrastructure dedicated to rehabilitating and rehoming predators. This suggests their relationship with these creatures extends beyond simple domestication into a complex system of mutual emotional support." Even Mrindu found their tactical assessment shifting. "While I maintain that housing predators in such proximity requires significant risk management, I must acknowledge that the emotional benefits to both species appear to outweigh the potential dangers." That evening, as they prepared to return to their concealed ship, they noticed Keplak lingering near the cat room. Purely for research purposes, they insisted, but their tentacles betrayed their emotional state as they watched a volunteer bid goodnight to each cat by name. The team's report that night was their longest yet, as they struggled to quantify the profound implications of what they'd witnessed. How could they explain to their superiors that Earth's most powerful technology might not be their tools or weapons, but their capacity for compassion? A new understanding. 1 month after their initial arrival on Earth, the research team stood before the Galactic Science Council again. The chamber hummed with anticipation. Rumors of their findings had already sparked heated debates across multiple star systems. Vrina's crystalline form glowed with confidence as she activated the holographic display. Esteemed council members, what we discovered on Earth challenges not just our understanding of human civilization, but our fundamental beliefs about interspecies relationships. The display showed a series of images: a therapy dog comforting patients in a hospital, a rescue cat sleeping beside an elderly person, a blind person navigating city streets with a guide dog. Each image caused murmurs of disbelief among the council members. The humans have achieved something we long thought impossible, Vrina continued. They've created genuine emotional bonds with species that should, by all logical standards, be their natural enemies. Keplak stepped forward, their tentacles arranged in the formal pattern of scientific presentation. Yet there was something different about their demeanor, a softness that hadn't been there before. Our research reveals that humans have not merely domesticated Earth's predators. They have formed complex, mutually beneficial relationships that transcend basic survival needs. The chamber erupted in questioning chirps, clicks, and vibrations. A Nexilian elder raised their gelatinous form. But surely this is some form of advanced control technology? That was our initial hypothesis, Mrindu responded, their tactical exoskeleton now adorned with an unusual modification, a small pocket containing cat treats. However, we discovered something far more remarkable: voluntary cooperation based on emotional connection. The holographic display shifted to show footage from their research: children reading to shelter dogs, elderly cats receiving medical care, rescued wildlife being rehabilitated. Each scene demonstrated a level of interspecies cooperation that defied conventional xenobiological theory. Humans call it love, Vrina explained. While we've long dismissed this concept as primitive emotional weakness, our research suggests it may be one of the most sophisticated adaptation mechanisms in the galaxy. Keplak's tentacles curled with excitement as they continued the presentation. These relationships provide both species with significant benefits. The animals receive care, shelter, and emotional support. The humans receive companionship, purpose, and what they call unconditional love, a concept that warrants further study. The council listened in stunned silence as the team detailed their findings: the complex social structures of dog parks, the therapeutic value of animal companionship, the extensive networks dedicated to animal welfare. But it was their personal observations that truly captured the council's attention. During our research, Vrina admitted, her color shifting to a vulnerable shade of blue, we experienced something unexpected. We began to understand these connections not just intellectually, but emotionally. The holographic display showed their final piece of evidence: Keplak, in their natural form, gently petting Midnight the cat in their ship's research lab. The cat, completely unfazed by the alien appearance, purred contentedly while kneading their tentacles. We've received approval to establish the first interstellar animal shelter research center, Keplak announced. With the Council's permission, we propose to study how these human-animal bonds might be adapted to benefit other species across the galaxy. Mrindu, who had started their mission convinced it was a security nightmare, added their own testimony. While I maintain that proper safety protocols are essential, I must acknowledge that these relationships offer opportunities we never considered. Several Earth predators have demonstrated remarkable potential as therapeutic companions, search and rescue assistants, and even early warning systems. The council chambers filled with excited discussion as the implications became clear. If humans could form beneficial relationships with natural predators, What other interspecies connections might be possible throughout the galaxy? Vrina concluded their presentation with an unprecedented proposal. We recommend establishing a new field of study, emotional xenobiology. Earth's example suggests that interspecies relationships built on emotional bonds rather than dominance might open new possibilities for peaceful coexistence throughout the galaxy. As the Council debated their findings, Kepler made their final log entry. When we began this mission, we sought to understand how humans controlled Earth's predators. What we discovered was something far more valuable: they don't control them at all. They love them. And in doing so, they've achieved something greater than dominance: partnership. The epilogue to their mission came 3 months later, when the Galactic Science Council officially recognized human-animal bonds as one of the great wonders of the known universe. And in a small apartment near the new research center, Kepler settled into their evening routine, watching with contentment as Midnight, now officially their research partner, curled up on their tentacles and began to purr. Perhaps, they wrote in their personal log, the humans' greatest achievement isn't their technology or their resilience, but their ability to see past biological differences to form connections we never imagined possible. In teaching us about their relationships with Earth's animals, they've taught us something even more valuable about ourselves.